Sacred Sojourners, a space where we gather around the fire for storytelling.
This is a journey of spiritual awakening, learning to trust in the universe and aligning to our highest path.
It's through our voices from the perspective of the masculine and the feminine, which is the real life dance between us, where we are going to share stories about our journey, our triggers, our love, all as we walk with the universe, not against it.
Zan and I are two souls having our human experience who are walking through the fire together with our three dogs. And now we're inviting you in to witness. If you've been feeling the pull to awaken,
Then you can finally start to trust.
and then to align to your highest good.
Now, you're exactly where you're meant to be. Hello, and welcome back, Sojourners. We hope everybody's doing okay. Welcome to the Sacred Sojourner podcast. I am Zan Kavanaugh, your co-host,
And I'm Troy Hawkner. I'm your other co-host.
and we just want to send well wishes out to everybody. We are in June, and it is hellfire.
Hellfire.
We are walking through the fire together.
Mm-hmm.
All of us. We hear it out in the world. And so we send prayers
Send prayers, yeah.
because this is not easy times for earthlings.
Yeah, the just the spiritual realm that's out there is very tough. Very tough.
It is very tough, but we're not alone. As
Mm.
we talk to our friends and people around, everybody is going through some version of what we're going to kind of be talking about today. So we host this podcast for the spiritually curious, and we are in relationship. And so sometimes it leans towards our own discovery of aspects of spirituality that we were not aware of.
Mm-hmm.
And so today's episode is going to be about the trust gap, the fire between fear and trust. So we welcome you. We hope you enjoy. This is going to be a very deep and personal campfire conversation
Right.
about what has been going on. We are traveling in an RV, travel trailer. And our goal is to fund ourselves until we can get the podcast and everything going. And part of that has been to sell Troy's truck. And for the first 2 weeks that we were here, there was no movement on that.
Not at all. And when she says truck, she means semi.
Yes, his semi. But now that we're starting to do some work that we'll talk about today, there's been some movement. So before we get going and tell you our stories, how'd you like to light the fire, honey?
Okay. Sure. I'd love to. Fire right there. May this fire illuminate what is hidden. May it burn away what no longer serves us. And remind us that transformation is not always comfortable.
I'm
But
gonna
it
say
is.
never.
Yeah. It's not always comfortable, but it is always available.
It is always available, and that's the how far do you want to go? But right now, I suspect that all of you are going through some level of transformation. This is not one of those like times where it's like, ooh, everything's so fabulous and great. And if it is for you, well, then yay for you.
Yeah, yay for you. But we've been hearing about how things are evolving a lot faster nowadays than it did a decade ago.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to evolve, change has to take place. We cannot stay the lower selves that we've been. We got to get to that next level, higher level. And there's where the uncomfortable comes in, because in order to do that, what do we got to do? Look at ourselves
Yeah.
and what needs to change. And there's the uncomfortable part,
And learn
transformation.
and learn new things. Like so now we are on TikTok, and that's very uncomfortable
Yeah,
because we're not 20.
we're not 20. And we're not up with the social media and I don't know what you called it, but the workings of the phones and the computers and all that. That's her specialty. But I have started a pastor's awakening, and it's from the pulpit to present. And it's called Troy's Daily Dispatches. And I put out a dispatch every day of just whatever's hitting me at the moment, and talk about it from a conscious side and try to figure out how to live life and become our higher selves through it.
And what's really great about this is that so Troy was an evangelist preacher for the Baptist church,
Mm-hmm.
and he loved it. And he would tell me that he loved doing it. And he would get up there and he would motivate people, and people loved him. And he did that for 2 years. He would just travel around, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, I mean, I was all over in churches doing it, and I loved it. You know, the speaking was my tool. It was my gift, and I was in my element. You know, even though I pastored churches, I would always say, you know, the preaching was the fun part. They didn't pay me to do that. It was the pastoring they paid me to do.
Mhm.
You
And you
know,
were popular.
yeah, I got to where I was well known and lived life and enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Uh,
and so I was like, "Hey, why don't you do mini versions of that?" I mean, we're in different times, right? So you do have to evolve and adapt, and so what's that experience been like for you? Because 90 seconds or 3 minutes, it's not
mhm.
45 minutes with a dedicated audience, but how's it been for you to get on there and share what's going on?
Well, it's been enjoyable. I've enjoyed doing it. The thing that shows up for me with that is anybody can get on there and be a guru or sound like a guru, you know, because talk can be cheap. And I don't want to be that guy. I want it as authentic as possible. I want, my life to live what I'm saying. And I don't know, for me, that's very important. And I also know my shortcomings. I know my weak spots, and that's really hitting me hard.
So it's kinda like your future self is, like, giving you guidance to your present self.
Right, exactly. In other words, but I will tell you this, it's causing me to read more, study more. It's causing me to look at my life more
That's good.
and say, "Wait a minute now, I'm fixing to get on here and say this, but look over here."
Mhm.
And, and that's part of becoming my higher self. It is looking at the things that's stopping me from being there, and it gives me that opportunity to, you know.
And so you can find that at Sojourner Troy.
Mhm.
He got almost 1,000 views of his initial dispatch. We're calling him dispatches because, he's a trucker. And
Yeah,
so we
this
had to make
has.
it fun, like a CB, like he's giving a dispatch out there. And I think it's been great because I think it's also been an outlet for you to kind of share and communicate while the podcast is about us. And so we also have a TikTok called Sacred Sojourners. And I'm just feeling my way through it and trying to figure out how this TikTok thing works.
Yeah, you really ought to check that out because that shows the family, and when I say family, us and the pack,
The
we call them the
dogs.
pack, our 3 dogs, and
Yeah.
it shows the kind of a personal side of our life and a lot of fun.
Yeah. I'm about to like post our trailer, what it looks like, and how many millions of things that we shoved into this tiny trailer. So you'll see that. Yeah. So this week we had a lot of things go on. And to be honest with you, we just couldn't put a podcast out yesterday because, wow, the
Mm.
energy is just really thick. And, I was thinking about this today. Not only are we putting ourselves into the unknown, we've hired a very high level and amazing spiritual coach named Lori Rising. And we're doing deep,
Deep work.
deep work. We're excavating our own belief systems through this work while we're under pressure, while we're trying to sell the truck, and you're working and we've got 3 dogs, and we're living at a campground with a ton of bugs.
Biting bugs
A
at that.
lot of bugs. And so it's really taxing on the body, and I can't decide if that's a good thing or a bad thing because I feel like if we can get through this, then we're gonna be, like, on air, but in the process, what do you say? By golly.
Mm. It's a
It
challenge. It's challenging. It
ooh.
really is. I mean, you talking about having to exercise your tools and I can sure wig out.
It's like it's a learning a whole new skill, but, in the end, I think that this is the freedom because when you can uncover, right, we've talked about the inner child and we've talked about the old trauma wounds, but it's all about the body. Those are all now stored in the body. And
Mhm.
so it's one thing to be aware of them, but then how do you get them out, right? Because all of the stuck in your body actually can cause you to be sick. Like I basically this week had bladder issues. And I looked it up in one of my books and it's just frustration, and anger, and pissed off, really.
Mhm.
So literally, your body reacts to the energy that you're bringing forth.
Right.
And so we started the week and we did some breath work. And so if you don't know what breath work is when you do deep breathing, it's guided by somebody and It's usually joined with music, and it can just be like, in and out through your mouth. It can be fast breaths. It can be like in, out. There's all kinds of different ways you can do it. But we did it with our coach on a class that she had taught about the 3D, 4D, and 5D, which is the dimensions, and it just kind of walks you through. The 3D is when reality's happening to you. The 4D is when you're kind of interchanging with reality, but you have more awareness about it. And the 5D is you are co-creating your reality.
Right.
And so we did this breath work and wow, we just so much came out. Like
Yeah.
I was crying and like all this energy was being released. And of course I love that because I'm like, yeah, get it out of my body. And then we felt amazing.
Yeah. We did for a few days there.
Yeah. And what happened in those 3 days that, consciousness, it's kind of a good thing because so much space in your reality allows much more to come in.
Mhm.
So, we were a little bit more turned on with each other
Yeah.
because we were conscious, like, we had gone through this, like, together. We had, like, more space to see each other because all those old feelings and all that old programming that wasn't even really ours, or it was, but from, like, before, that was gone, so now we could actually, like, see each other.
Mhm. I think it was, for me, it was because I was in the present moment. It helped me get centered, and I was in the present moment. And, anytime you're in the present moment, you're able to operate at a more, in other words, you talk about flow. You're able to flow a lot better instead of living in anxiety and being anxious and trying to push your way through. It's kind of like a river. A river, when the rocks come up, it doesn't try to beat itself against it. It just flows around them.
Right,
When the next bend comes up, it don't complain because it's got to take a turn. It just goes right along with the flow.
right.
And my life was flowing after these breaths, and
Yeah,
it was.
and the truck.
Yeah, and the truck, I mean, in this time of flowing, I couldn't buy somebody to call me to talk about the sale of my truck, and then during this time after our breath work, I got 3 hits and, still talking with these guys and still got them on the string, so, it's just this thing started flowing.
Right, and
Y
that I loved that because that was like, yes, we are on that
It's
path.
confirmation.
It
Confirmation.
is confirmation. It's actually one of the reasons we're doing the podcast tonight because we can't have a stall. We gotta keep going. So it's like,
Right.
we gotta do this work.
Mm.
It's like, do the work and it will show up. And then the other thing I wanna point out is that, you always got in accidents.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you were always cutting yourself, you're always hurting yourself.
Yeah, as a truck driver, you own one, you gonna work on it. And when you out there turning wrenches or beating asphalt off the bed of your truck or whatever you do as a truck driver, you're prone to mislick and hit your hand or wrench comes off and bust your knuckles or something's going on all the time. And Zan, she really kind of pointed that out to me. You're always hurting yourself. I'd come home with bloody knuckles, cut hands, and I've always contributed to just being a worker. I work. Okay, oh, I busted that knuckle. Just keep going. I've never thought nothing about it until she pointed it out. And so she started talking to me about setting my intention and, setting my intention for not hurting myself that day. And in this flow process, I did that. I'd wake up in the morning. Okay, I'm going to set the, and you know what? I don't know what day I'm on now, but I do not have a cut. I do not have a scrape, a splinter. I mean, I had a month ago, I had a splinter so bad in my finger, I had to go to the doctor and have them cut it out because
Yeah.
I kept it for a month and my finger just kept swelling and swelling and swelling and we couldn't get it out.
And he couldn't get it out, and they still didn't get it out, and so I was like, "Okay, let's come up with an intention that you can say." I actually wanted you to make up a song
Mhm.
about being accident free.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Do it in the morning, say, accident
Accident
free,
free. Yeah.
I'm gonna be accident free."
Yeah. But it's been nice to know that, I don't know, just seeing how flow can operate keeps you
Mhm.
safer. It keeps things moving,
Right.
When you're in that present moment and living consciously, how much smoother life is,
Well, it's also we didn't have to force and create peace, but we removed some of the noise so we could actually experience it.
right? Yeah.
I mean, what did the extra space allow you to see that you didn't see before?
The extra space has caused me to slow down. It really has. I've always been wide open, wide slam open. Wake up. I mean, I'm a 4 o'clock in the morning guy, 5 o'clock in the morning guy without an alarm. And my feet hit the ground running, and I live my life that way. But since I just slow down, look at things from a different perspective. That's where it's really helped me.
This is beautiful because
Because every lick is counting now, where
Mhm.
before I was just barreling my way
It's
through, kinda like
autopilot.
yeah, and if it worked, it worked. If it didn't, well, we just barrel through another way, you know?
Exactly. You're more conscious about it. So we have the 3 days of peace and,
Mm,
in the past when Troy and I were living together, there was he was being run by his programming. And
yep.
so it got very challenging and it was like and you'll hear that in the past episodes, but it was like, okay, so can we just have some days of peace? And I know it was very difficult for you to create peace from this really intense nervous system. And so tell me the difference about the peace in this last 3 days versus the peace that was manufactured, really.
Well, manufactured peace ain't peace in the store. During the 3 days of flow,
Mhm.
it was peaceful. It was peaceful. I noticed, it was so much easier to have a gratitude practice. It was just, there is no substitute for peace. And when you're not in flow, can you manufacture peace?
Well, yeah.
You cannot manufacture. And when you're not at peace, you're in turmoil. You're anxious. You're in anxiety, and
Well, you can't co-create.
you cannot co-create that way.
No.
Yeah, okay. Going back to the 3D to 4D, the different dimensions, when you're not at peace, it's kind of like me leaving the 4D and going back into the 3D,
Mhm, and
you know,
I just wanna, like, point out too, if this is new information on the dimensions, there's a great book, very, very famous book called The Celestine Prophecy, and that is a easy read, it's a story, there's actually a movie you can watch as well, that kind of explains what we're talking about, and the different dimensions are just really where you're vibrating at, and the higher your consciousness vibration is, the more that you can receive and the more that you can experience, in that level.
and it goes along with scripture. If I could, in other words, Jesus, he talked about, living in the spirit, being in the spirit. That was when you're in the spirit, you're in the flow.
Mm.
The Apostle Paul talked about being in the spirit, not being of the carnal mind. The carnal is the 3D, to where the spirit
Mhm.
is, working its way, depending on where you are within the spirit, 4D and 5D.
Mhm.
So maybe that'll help the listeners to understand
Yeah.
from that perspective.
So we're on cloud 9 because 'cause we're like, "Yeah, we did this.
Yeah,
Woohoo, look
yeah,
at us." So and prior to that, we were just still having very tense times, and so our coach said, "Well, we should do this together. We should have a session together." So we have a session together, and in the session, we're talking, and she says, "Why are you both, like, referring to your past selves instead of the present? Like,
mhm.
you're together, like, you are committed." And
You're not past single no more.
no, but
You're
we were
together.
still kind of, like, when you're first dating with someone and you're like, "I don't know if this is the one, and I don't know if this is gonna happen," and I think that we're I think that you and I both, if I'm being honest, just kind of, like, rushed to make it solid so that we couldn't talk ourselves out of it because we realized that the connection is so strong and karmic.
Right,
And we want this so badly to work, and we put ourselves, put these markers on our lives, like we lived together and then we got engaged and then we committed to this trip and put everything in storage, which was funny because he looked at me and he said, "Oh my god, there's so much stuff in here. We're now in it because our
yeah,
storage is
yeah,
together."
there ain't no busting up now.
No.
Lord have mercy.
It's like
Mm,
so much shit in there. So, I mean, in the external, we had set up the box
y
that we are together, and she's listening to us, and she's like, "But you're not committed. What if you guys simply committed?" Which, I think the brain is just like, "Of course I'm committed. Like, we're living
right,
together with 3
right,
dogs and a
yeah.
travel
How can
trailer."
we not be
Like,
committed because of where we are? But
but it was a scary moment when she actually, like, said that.
mhm.
And so what was so hard about that moment for you?
Just a trust issue. In order for me to commit the way she was talking about, I got to take it at face value and put it away and not think about how I can be hurt. And that's a hard thing. That was a hard thing. That was the scary part for me.
Mhm.
And even now, I just had a revelation about it. It's kind of come up to me. That's what the whole weekend and why it was so hard because I was battling that. I'm battling it.
Exactly. And so in that moment for me, she's like, "Zan, you're talking about your former life. My former life, I was single, I'm independent, I take care of myself. I rented a four-bedroom house by myself. I got a dog by myself. took care of my car. I mean, I can take care of myself. And now I have to rely and also intermingle with you
Hmm.
and make decisions with you. And it's not by myself. And it's not a secret that it's been challenging for me because I don't trust men. I don't trust every man prior to you has hurt me.
Hmm.
They've either left or my father died, right? Everyone I love either leaves me or dies.
Right.
And that was an old mantra. I don't say that mantra now because I've shifted. And there is something in you that has shifted because you haven't given up. You did fight for me. Even in this, you have fought for me. And so it was like this, it was like, I know that she's saying that I need to commit to this. And at the same time, all of the emotions inside me were fighting me. Why am I not committing to you? Why is this happening right now? And so, I mean, it felt like a million years before I answered, to be
Yeah.
honest. It was like, oh my God, he's gonna look at me and be like, what's wrong with you? But you were in your
So
own stuff.
I was in the
So,
same room. I was looking
right.
at it the same way, and that's when the raging started within me right there. That question. I'm being punked out. I have to commit. I have to. And then the trust issue just come up, and that's what sent us into the tailspin.
Right. And
And I
so,
hate it. I hate it, sweetie. You know,
So
and
for younger people, you're probably like, "What is wrong with you?" But when you have your whole life, right? Like Troy's had multiple marriages, I've had multiple relationships, and it's like when you have those experiences, we know we've been hurt.
hmm
And at our age to say, "Okay, this one, we're going to really give it
yeah,
the
yeah.
chance." It's scary because we've been hurt so many times. And so,
Well, as you get hurt, you build walls, and in
mm,
order to commit where she was talking about, we gotta tear those walls down, and those walls is what we've put up to protect us,
right.
and now we have to become vulnerable,
Mhm.
and that's a hard thing. I mean, it's all coming full circle to me now.
Mhm. Is because you're stepping in the faith, but it's like the reality is like I'm in this right now moment. And
Mhm.
so I have decided to be with you. Like I am
Right.
now. Look, this is not a fantasy. This is not like, hey,
This is
I
real
can back
deal.
yeah, I can't back out of this situation. Like I'm here. And so it was like almost bringing the two together, right?
Mm,
And so we had a very sweet, tender moment. We both kind of were like, okay, we can do this. And she had talked to us about our signs and how our signs and how we operate and, what's good for Troy and what's good for me
yep, the
and
good,
gave us
bad,
some
and ugly
guidance.
in our
Right.
families.
So we leave the session and we're like, yeah, this is great. And the next day,
Oh, hell broke loose.
well, there was a deeper layer of Troy's mistrust that came out and he was harsher and he was more condemning and he was trying to control the way I was communicating to him and he was nasty and I was like, what the f, how is this happening right now
Mm,
after we had just gone through this, but also having awareness of like, okay, well, here we go, here's like another layer because there was more space.
yeah.
It didn't feel as crowded in the field. There was more space, but it was still, like, reminiscent of how it was before, and I just was like, "Okay, here's a different aspect," and that went on for a couple of days, and then because that was happening, he was confronting my stuff, and so yesterday, we actually did a meditation, which is so crazy. We did a meditation, and it was a Joe Dispenza meditation, which
Mhm.
is about manifesting and creating, and when I came out of the meditation, well, mind you, back up a second, we went on a journey on Saturday, and we took the dogs, and we went to the beach, and we recorded a TikTok, and it was great. We had a wonderful day.
Wonderful day.
And we had fun and everybody was happy. We ate great food. Everything was good. So we had moved through the issues and that felt actually productive because even though it was very difficult, we still kind of figured out how to maneuver it. But back to Sunday. So then I wake up and oh my God, I'm just torqued. And we call it the ick. It's like all over you. You just you know that you're gonna be set off. And for me, it's my nervous system. And my nervous system was just really agitated and I didn't understand what was going on. And so here's my new layer.
Yeah.
And my new layer, right? I have talked about it that I've had rage and anger and I don't like that. So I see it come up, I feel it come up, and I'm trying to combat it. So I do the work, I do the breath work, I do the nervous system reset, and it just got louder.
Mm.
And then Troy was, he was observing and he was aware, but now what's happening when this is happening? When I'm having my own nervous, which has nothing to do with you, by the way,
Yeah, it wasn't nothing to do with me. It wasn't because I got out of sorts. But what does it do? It takes me back to my trauma, takes me back to my fear,
because of why.
the abandonment. That's the way I see it. It went at the moment. I get out of that present moment and go back to living from that fear and thinking, okay, I got to fix this.
Mhm.
Which there was nothing there for me to fix because it wasn't nothing I did.
No. And so it's this trust, which ultimately we just need to surrender. But
Surrender.
that is so challenging. And so I just want to talk a little bit about the nervous system. If you don't know what your nervous system is, I'm sure it's like a big buzzword right now, but it's like you go into fight or flight or freeze or control or free me. I feel like I glitch out. I feel like I can't operate as myself. I'm not in my body. I'm operating from like a pattern. I feel trapped.
Mm,
I need space. I wanna crawl into the wall. I like, if a dog barks, I will, like, lose my shit. I just it's too much loud. I'm a very sensitive creature, and so when that happens, it's so scary because you don't actually have control of it, and so there's a lot of stuff on nervous systems and how apparently when you're exposed to something that erodes your nervous system, then it just gets worse and worse and worse, and that's what I've been feeling, and I thought it was trauma that I was dealing with. I thought it was old trauma and why I was, like, so angry, but it really was the erosion of my nervous system because my happy place, my peace place, my comfort zone was now no longer available.
and as a man, when you get in that space, let me tell you what's happening. When you get there, I got to fix it.
Mhm.
I got to fix it. Now, she just said she needed space. She don't need a man coming in to poke the bear,
Right.
as she calls it. You're poking the bear.
Yeah.
But, my intention is to fix it. The challenge is that many of us men are this way. We do this. We unknowingly contribute to the stress we're trying to solve.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's where we were in this process. I was contributing to the stress instead of just backing off and letting her be. And,
But that's new to you, right?
yeah, that's new to me. You back up and just take a breather and go for a walk, go get in nature. Nature speaks to me so loud sometimes. It's just, these are the new neural nets that I have to change, the new way of doing things. And that's what I got to do the work to be able to do that. And, because when it gets to that point, that's when I'm inconsistent. I'm emotionally unavailable, right? Would
Yeah.
you say that? I'm very reactive. I'm distracted. And none of these things bring good into the relationship.
No, and you're also trying to control,
Hmm.
which is coming
Well,
from past
oh yeah,
wounds.
absolutely. I'm doing everything I can to control,
Right.
and
Because the ego wants to feel okay and have power in the situation, and so you're trying to control me, and I can't even control myself, and so my
yeah.
defenses are down, and I literally am just like, I feel like I have emotional Tourette's because I
Hmm.
just can't even talk. It's a horrible experience.
It
It
really
it
is. I mean,
you feel a little schizophrenic at that in those moments, and
yeah, in a place where I'm trying to create certainty by controlling it, all I'm doing is bring in uncertainty, and uncertainty puts the nervous system on that much more alert.
yes,
Wouldn't you agree? I
yes,
mean, you just it's like a thermometer. It just goes up into the red then, does it?
yeah.
And it's on like Donkey Kong then. I mean, And that's the cool thing about it. It's just learning how to work with each other, learning when to give space. So just because somebody needs space, this is something I'm having to feed myself. That doesn't mean that they're wanting a way out. That doesn't mean that they're changing their mind. And this goes back to the negative thinking. Okay, she's changing her mind. I've made myself stop doing that. No, no, I refuse to believe that. I refuse to believe that, and I've got to do it even more. Mm,
Well, I think the thing that shifted for me, sleep actually helps the nervous system calm down. I
mm.
felt like I just want to get to sleep so I can escape my reality of this. It's a horrible experience. And I understand the rage now because you just want it to stop. You just want it and it gets louder and louder and it's like, I catch myself, okay, I'm like raising my voice and I'm talking, who am I doing this to, right? It's just like, leave me alone. This is what's happening is in my mind is just like, stop, just make it stop. I just need my peace. And so today I realized like, I'm done. I'm not doing that. I'm not letting my nervous system get to that level. I will shut down. I will stop it in the moment. I will walk away because nothing is worth going through that ever again. And there's some calm about me. And what I noticed is that as, you're coming at me, I have to be in total awareness and hold my energy field secure and safe to myself. And as you're talking, and this is what has changed for me is that I will pause. I will pause before I speak to you. I will listen to, and that is a new experience for me because I just want to react because I'm one with the field. The information's just coming. Where as a woman, right? One time I learned in an understanding men course, always give a man 30 seconds to finish his thoughts. And as women, we're just like, "Da, da, 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 da," and then
Mhm.
like we've already got like eight answers for you before you
Yeah,
actually
rapid
even
fire.
finish. Like we can't wait for you to finish so we can tell you exactly what's going on in our mind. Like we know. And so we were taught to give men 30 seconds because they'll pause and then they'll think about, and then are you done talking? Because we want to hear what you have to say and we're not trying to cut you off. But they're in the pause today as you were talking and spinning and whatever you were doing. I was just watching you and I wasn't reacting.
Just like being at the movie, huh?
It
You just
was.
watching it.
I was just watching and
You
it
know,
was
you
like you were catching yourself saying stuff and because I wasn't giving you anything to react to.
right. Well, and what have you told me over and over again? It's all energy.
Mhm,
It is all energy. What I've discovered today is that my energy often speaks louder than my words.
mhm,
No, in other words, I'm saying, "Baby doll, I love you to death,"
mm.
right? But yet, what's my energy telling you?
Do you wanna, like, choke me?
Well, I mean, you said it. You said it. When you come in there, what, Sunday morning, I could feel it on you, and, that came to me today, that my
Mhm,
energy is speaking louder than my word and I gotta break that cycle.
mhm.
What's our sign outside the door, right there at the door? Don't
Check your
be
energy.
check your energy, be mindful of the energy you bring in this place.
Mhm.
Mm? I mean, just because 'cause I'm saying one thing don't mean that my energy ain't somewhere different.
Yeah,
And,
that's a good point.
when I'm calm, I'm calm. I'm centered and I'm connected, and you can feel that. You can tell it. It creates space for you to be able to relax, and, I take that space from you. It causes you not to be in that safe space, and, it causes you not to be in your feminine. It takes away your blossom because your flower folds back up.
Yeah, because I'm still caught in the defending myself. I'm still caught in the not being seen and, not being heard,
Mhm.
and that's just operating from the wound over and over, and I thought, "Okay, how do I," and it's like the loop keeps happening, and it's so crazy, and you're like, "How do I crack this? How do I crack this?" Well, today I did. Today I felt like, because I could see myself getting caught in there, my tone shifting, and then I was like, "Okay, no, stop doing that." So it's a practice.
It's
It's a
practice.
faith walk, right?
Yeah, can I ask you, at
Yeah.
what point did this shift today? In other words, tell the listener.
The point that shifted, and here's the thing. I made the commitment. I take my word very seriously. I have integrity and I pride myself on being truthful and authentic. And when Lori presented that to us, I said, okay, she's right. I mean, I might as well try. If it fails, it fails, but I might as well be honest with it and merge with it. And I will say that when we did that, I felt a major difference because it was like we didn't have this extraneous garbage floating around about how we were trying to break up with each other like every other day, because
Mhm.
that was just idle threats and idle manipulation. And so the truth is, you kept throwing that back. Even after you said you were going to commit with Lori, you kept throwing it back to me, saying, like, okay, well, let's get you out of here or let's pack up the car and leave. And that was what really set me off. Then I was like, okay, so I'm not safe again. I'm,
You're
we're,
right.
we're, we're just backpedaling. So what the hell? Why would you even say that to me? So today, I didn't even know it was going to come out. And I just said, I'm committed. And because you were so worried. Everything you were operating from was that I was going to leave you. So
Well, that
all
that
of your
trust moment with
anxiety,
Lori opened those basement doors, and the darkness was there. Just I could see that now, and the fear came up.
and as soon as I just said, you said, "Are you gonna leave me? Or is there a chance this is gonna work?" And I'm just like, "Are you kidding me right now?"
Yeah, that's what you said.
But I mean, I did think about it because every time this happens, the pain of what we're going through is too great for me to deal with. But
Right,
also the pain of starting over and going on my own and worse. I would rather just keep going and just because I have seen results. I have seen how we are moving through some massive energy and already in the time that we've been working with her, so much has cleared that I am not a quitter.
right.
But more importantly, I committed to you.
Yep,
I did that and my word is gold when I say I'm committing. And so
yep.
as soon as I said that to you, you calmed down.
Yeah, I did.
And then you were, like, whistling, and you made me dinner, and you were in, like, a good mood, and it was like, "Okay."
Yeah, I made a dinner tonight that you can't go downtown and buy. I mean, that's a good dinner. Love doing it.
And so what shifted for you?
That security, knowing and your brother's words come th back to me. She's the most authentic person you'll ever find. No, where Zan ain't committing to something if she don't wanna commit to it. I've done seen that too many times. Now what's in it for me and what I got to do is change the poking the bear. I gotta change poking the bear. Commitment's commitment, okay? We've been talking about being committed, Lori says to trust. The Lord Jesus says to walk by faith, not by sight. Trusting is walking by faith. For the last 40 years, I've had to walk by sight. If I
Mhm,
couldn't see it, I wasn't believing.
mhm.
End of story. Well, I'm choosing to go a different route this way, this time. I'm just going to
Well,
take it at face value. I did that today. While you was in town, I just got out there with the dogs and had a good time. The hell with it. I ain't gonna let it bother me. She ain't. It's all good. It's all good.
which is seriously, it's a celebration moment also because I didn't smoke pot, I didn't drink, although I did eat a lot of chocolate. The thing that I wanna say to that is that I went to Ramtha School of Enlightenment, and part of our training in it's like wizard school, basically. Part of the training was we had to be blindfolded and do breath work, energy work to connect us to the field. And when
Mhm.
I say the field, it's like your energy field, right, that you're co-creating with. And then we had to go find a card that we had drew. So imagine like a half of an 8 by 10, like a 5 by 10 card. And we drew our wishes on there. The time I had created my water company called Aquamantra Water. So I drew a water bottle. And then imagine this equestrian sized field in Ecuador, no doubt. And they put the cards backwards, so you couldn't those just all blank cards, but all of your images were on there. Then they blindfolded you, and then they sent you out into the field, and you had to go find your card with your eyes closed because 'cause you're just following the energy. In the beginning of the experience, I'm, like, bumping into people, and they're hurting like, giant men are, like, bumping into me, and they're like, "Master, you're not connected to your field." And I'm just like, "Listen, you" like, I was, like, cursing like crazy. I was like, "This is bullshit." But because I was using my mind.
Mhm.
And their whole thing is that when you rely on your senses, you cannot connect through your heart to the field. So they blindfolded us and we weren't allowed to talk to anybody. And we had to use our own intuition and guidance. And after 3 days of doing this, I kept finding like cards that had water kind of like it, right? I would find like somebody drew a house with a pond or ocean or things like that, but I didn't actually find my card. Eventually I did, which was a great day. And so it teaches us we can't rely on our senses. We have to trust with the whole heart. The mind is trickery. The mind is what gets us to read the instructions on how to use all the electronics. The mind is what allows us to understand how the apps work and how to pay our bills, right? The mind is the intellect and it's allows us to function, but the heart and the intuition is what guides us through this world. And this practice that we're learning and sharing with you is that.
One of the questions she asks a lot is that your mind or is that your heart asking this or saying this or doing this? You
And
know,
so we invite you to look at that. And in relationship, to ask your partner, is it coming from your heart or your mind? So, wow, that was a deep dive, and I hope
yeah.
it was entertaining for you.
Mhm.
It was a new moon yesterday, which was disappointing that all of that happened on that day. So, because it's the day after, we're going to just say that it's still in effect. So, in this fire, what is your wish for this next cycle?
The next cycle for me, what I'm gonna be focused on is for my woman, my Zan, my sweetie, to feel emotionally safe. That's important to me, to be seen. I want her to know that she's heard. I want her to know she's supported. I want her out of survival mode because when she's in survival mode, I don't get to see the feminine. I want to see the feminine. I love the feminine. When she's in survival mode, she feels as if she's got to carry the weight of the world on her shoulders. No, that's my job. I'm supposed to be the masculine, show up as the man, and take care of her. What I'm putting in the fire tonight is the avenues that I've always took to not be that for you.
Thank
As
you.
Lori said the other night, commit. Walk by faith and not by sight.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the one thing to say to that you're gonna commit, you know, it's another thing to embody it.
Embody it. In other words, put feet to it.
Mm,
Walk the mile, put my feet to it. We had a saying that I remember. When you make a commitment, you say, okay, you've made the commitment. Now go bury the hatchet.
mm.
And when you bury it, don't leave the handle sticking up to where you could grab it. That's what I've been doing. Okay, I'm a trust, but let me leave the handle here. That way I can grab a hold to it when times get scary. Well, I'm burying the hatchet. I'm a commit.
Imma hold you to that.
I want you to hold me accountable. I want you to. That's the relationship I want. Like who wants to start over? How about you? What are you bringing to the fire, sweetie?
I would want to first, I wanna burn the rage. I want to burn the weakness that I felt weak. It makes me feel weak that I can't control my emotions, and it's time. I'm excited to continue to do the breath work and to keep releasing, but I want to burn all of that stored sadness and frustrations, missed expectations, and I just wanna live a free existence. And so what I wanna manifest in the next 30 days is, once again, I'm sure y'all have heard this control piece, and to really be in full surrender. And I take your commit and I raise you.
Mm, we gambling.
I raise you more ease in our communication as we let go of old patterns and truly commit. And with that, no more, okay, well, what about this or what about that? We're in it.
We're in it.
And anything that doesn't allow that to show up, I'm gonna destroy and create it all.
Destroy and create it all, pocket pod.
Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, POD, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds.
Mm,
If you don't know what that is, then we will share that with you on TikTok.
enlighten you. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for listening, everybody.
Thank you. Yes. And if this resonates with you, just use your tools. Pull from your inner self. Go to your heart because your heart will steer you right. Get out of the mind
Take it to the fire.
and take it to the fire.
Let's everybody take a deep breath in and let it out. God, sending you all so much love, praying for peace in your heart and your world. And hopefully there's a morsel in here that supports you.
Yes.
Love and light,
Ease and grace.
peace and blessings.